Everyone loves Snoopy. The happy beagle, the dreamer, the pilot, the writer, the dog who somehow became more human than the humans around him. But if you look closely, there's something deeply wrong with that smile. Something too forced, too still. Snoopy isn't happy, he's performing happiness. Think about it. He doesn't speak, yet he's constantly pretending. Pretending to dance, to fly, to laugh. Pretending he's somewhere else, someone else, anyone but himself. Behind the cute nostalgia and jazzy soundtrack is a creature in quiet agony. He lives in a world where nobody hears him, nobody truly sees him, and somehow he's still expected to be funny about it. Snoopy doesn't bark, he daydreams. Because in his world, imagination isn't a gift, it's an anesthesia. And that's where his tragedy begins. Snoopy's entire life is an act. A carefully choreographed lie told through dance moves and delusions. When the world gives him silence, he answers with jazz hands. When loneliness creeps in, he imagines fame. When reality becomes unbearable, he climbs onto his red doghouse, not to sleep, but to escape. He's a World War I flying ace fighting invisible enemies. A novelist no one reads, a legend in a world that doesn't even know he exists. It's almost admirable, really, the way he converts pain into theater. Most of us drown in our sadness. Snoopy turns it into a musical. He's not coping, he's curating his breakdown for an audience of one. The irony is brutal. The more roles he plays, the less of himself remains. He dreams louder than he feels. He smiles harder than he breathes. And at some point, the performance becomes the personality. Because if he ever stopped pretending, if he ever faced the quiet truth behind the mask, he'd realize the thing he's been running from was never Charlie Brown or the world or even loneliness. It was himself. If Snoopy is a mask, Charlie Brown is the face underneath it, tired, anxious, quietly falling apart. One dreams to forget. The other worries to feel alive. Together, they form one incomplete human being. Charlie Brown can't win. Not the game, not the girl, not even the day. And Snoopy watches it all, not as a pet, but as a mirror. Every time Charlie breaks, Snoopy builds another fantasy to fix it. The boy's despair feeds the dog's imagination. It's not companionship, it's codependency, wrapped in pastel colors and childlike innocence. Snoopy becomes what Charlie wishes he could be, brave, charismatic, adored. But there's a cost. Because the more Snoopy lives out those impossible dreams, the more he reminds Charlie of everything he's not. And maybe that's why they never really connect, why there's always this invisible wall between the leash and the hand. Charlie Brown looks at Snoopy and sees freedom. Snoopy looks at Charlie and sees pain. They orbit each other like trauma satellites, pretending it's friendship. And somewhere between the laughter track and the silent panels, you start to realize, maybe Snoopy isn't Charlie's dog. Maybe he's Charlie's denial. A cartoon made of wishful thinking. So he keeps smiling for both of them, because if he ever stopped, Charlie would have to feel it too. Snoopy's doghouse isn't a home. It's a coffin painted red, a monument to escapism. Every time he climbs onto that roof, he's not resting, he's ascending into delusion. He sits up there, typewriter clicking, wind in his fur, pretending the sky is infinite. But it's not. It's the same backyard, the same fence, the same recycled plot of grass. No matter how hard he dreams, the camera never pans out, the world never changes. And yet, he keeps writing, keeps flying, keeps building fake lives because the real one doesn't want him anymore. In his mind, he's shot down over France. In reality, he's a dog lying on plywood, staring into nothing. Every imagined victory is a silent cry for meaning. Every fantasy is a failed prayer disguised as a punchline. He built a universe inside his head, populated by ghosts of better stories. A world where he's brave, desired, remembered. But none of it's real. Not the war, not the fame. Not even Woodstock, his best friend, who may just be another figment. Snoopy's imagination is beautiful, and it's killing him. He's trapped inside his own fiction, a prisoner of his coping mechanisms, because when the fantasy becomes the only way to survive, it stops being a dream. It becomes a cage with better lighting. Snoopy isn't just a dog. He's a cautionary tale. A cautionary tale with fur. A reminder that creativity without connection is just another form of suffering. Look at him, lying on the roof, nose in the air, typing novels that no one reads. He's the prototype for every Instagram poet, every TikTok dancer, every meme account curating the perfect life while quietly imploding inside. He performs for an audience that doesn't exist, hoping applause will fill the emptiness he was born into. Spoiler, it never does. He flies in imaginary dogfights. He writes fictional sagas. He dances for invisible admirers. And every time he finishes, he stares at the sky like he's forgotten how to breathe. That's the cruel genius of Snoopy. He's free, but only in a cage of his own invention. The world doesn't see his suffering because he's too busy being adorable. We laugh at him, we cheer for him, we even cry with him, but we never really see him. And maybe that's the point. Maybe Snoopy isn't suffering for Charlie Brown, maybe he's suffering for all of us. For everyone who smiles at a camera while their soul quietly peels away. For everyone who dreams louder than they live. For everyone who survives by pretending. Snoopy doesn't just exist, he exemplifies existence. Pain, hope, absurdity, all rolled into a dog with floppy ears and a typewriter. And the scariest part, somewhere in that red doghouse, Snoopy is already laughing at how relatable he is. Maybe that's the cruelest joke of all. The happiest dog in the world was never truly happy. He dances, he dreams, he spins through his imaginary victories, and we cheer, oblivious to the quiet collapse underneath. Snoopy doesn't suffer because he's weak. He suffers because he remembers what joy used to feel like, because the gap between fantasy and reality is unbearable, and he's forced to bridge it with nothing but imagination. When you see him lying on his doghouse staring at the sky, that's not peace, that's survival. That's quiet endurance. That's pretending one more time that the world isn't quietly eroding him from the inside. And somehow, through all of it, he keeps smiling. Because if he stopped, if he faced the silence fully, he might disappear entirely, not from the yard, but from existence itself. Snoopy is a warning, wrapped in fur and nostalgia, a tragic comedy masquerading as a Sunday cartoon. And the punchline? We keep laughing anyway. So, next time you see Snoopy dancing on that red doghouse, typing away like a tiny fur-covered novelist, remember, that's not joy. It's survival, performance, a masterclass in pretending you're fine while the universe quietly erodes you. And honestly, that's kind of inspiring, in a sad existential way. Because if a beagle can fake happiness while living in a cage of his own making, maybe we can all survive Monday. Maybe. So go ahead, like, subscribe, and share this with someone who secretly feels like Snoopy too. And if you have an emotional support beagle lying around, pet it before it dissociates into another imaginary adventure. Because some days, even survival deserves applause.